Hello, my name is Claire, and this is how I find and use good evidence in my debate cases. In a nutshell, in this video, I'm going to go over where to find good evidence, how to implement evidence in your debate cases, and why it's important to do these things well. First, where do we find good evidence? So, before you start searching up evidence to back up your arguments, you should already have a basic understanding of the resolution and maybe even some very rough ideas for contentions. So, after you understand the resolution and maybe form some rough contention ideas, it's time to start finding good evidence to back up your claims or good evidence to back up the ideas that might eventually become contentions. Now, it's completely okay to do this the opposite way as well. It really depends on what you personally prefer to do. But for other people, you might like to just research a lot and save those pieces of evidence and then form your contention as well. And both ways are completely valid. It's really just what you prefer to do, and you'll eventually find out what you prefer to do by just continuing to write cases. So, either way, go to Google first, or your first choice search engine, and search up almost exactly your contention idea or just a question you may have about the resolution to see what you can find and make sure to save all the sources that you might want to use. Other places you can find good sources are Google Scholar or other search engines like Bing, Brave, or DuckDuckGo. Using multiple search engines is useful because the different algorithms can provide more comprehensive coverage on the argument you want to form. Honestly, just use as many search engines as you possibly can. If you see a piece of evidence that looks intriguing and you click on it and it isn't very reliable, you'll find a good one eventually. You just got to keep on looking and you'll learn exactly what a good source will look like just with experience. So I wouldn't sweat it. I would just keep on researching. How to implement evidence in case. There are two things we're going to be going over: citing evidence in your case and your speeches, and cutting cards. Citing in case. So the main point is don't ever say .com in your speeches. For example, if you're using Google as a source for some reason, you would say Google states this and not google.com states. If your source has a listed author, use the author's last name and the year the source was published. I've done this in one of my old contentions that's right off to the side with Durham 25 and Mustoden 22. If there isn't a cited author, use the name of the source. So, for example, you could say the US Department of Agriculture states this, or the USDA states this, like I did in this contention with the Bank of Minneapolis and NCO. Cards. Simply put, a card is a formatted piece of evidence. Using formatted cards like the ones you see here aren't typically seen at West Virginian tournaments. However, at larger tournaments, cards are basically the norm. Cards are used for quick retrieval of evidence and information in round and to show your opponents if they call for a piece of evidence from your case. Off here to the right, I have some examples of cards that I wrote for NCFL. So, cards have multiple parts, 3 parts. One, a tagline. So the tagline is the part that you see highlighted in green, which is typically a claim explaining what the evidence proves or states. So right here, the first one, I said participation in democracy is lowering. And so that's specifically what the evidence proves. 2 is the body, which is the actual text pasted directly from the source. So you would just paste parts of the source that you want to use and put it in, even if you don't directly state all of it. Then you want to highlight the piece of evidence that you directly stated within your case and underline it as well. And this is my own personal preference, but I also like to underline parts of the source that, even if I didn't directly state it, is still useful and I could use it in a round. And the last part is the citation. So this is shown right here through the hyperlink source names with the author and the publication date. You can also MLA format the citations using EasyBib or Citation Machine. Why this matters. For one, evidence is the backbone of every good argument. You could have the best, most elaborate argument ever, and if you don't have good evidence to back it up, it's not a good argument. Two, having organized evidence makes it easy to reference and defend your evidence and arguments in round. Sometimes these debate rounds can get really fast paced, and so having organized evidence and having evidence laid out in ways that are very comprehensive and you understand what's going on makes it a lot easier when you're in these high pressure, low time situations where you have to show your opponent your card or when you have to, in your rebuttal, bring up something you said earlier. Having it organized really is a game changer. And three, developing your research and citing skills helps you down the line as well, in the future, in college, and throughout your life. So, in a nutshell, that is where to find good evidence for debate and how to implement it in your debate cases. As you continue to debate, you will form your own research and writing process. So, I hope this video helped clarify some intro terminology and practices to get you jump started. So, thank you and happy debating.